Thanks for watching my video. Today we're going to pull the front wheel off of a Honda CBR 600RR. Now I've been stripping down this bike, so the fender is already loose. When I was pulling the plastic off, I went ahead and pulled the bolts off for the fender. So first thing we're going to do is take a 22mm wrench and we're going to break that axle bolt free. It's easier to do this before you loosen the 12mm cinch bolts that are on the front of the forks. Again, like I said, I'm stripping this bike down. I'm going to give it a well-deserved makeover. So it's going to get repainted wheels, a lot of new parts. It should be showroom quality when I'm done with it. It's kind of sad right now. Anyway, so now we're jumped onto the calipers. I've got a 14mm wrench on these caliper bolts, and I'm just backing the bolts out. These wheels were black when I started. Typically the first thing I do when I tear a bike apart is I pull all the plastic off. That'll allow me to find all the oil leaks and pinpoint problems with the bike, and then I take a pressure washer and I pressure wash everything. When I pressure washed this front wheel, it was black and it looked okay, I guess, but I guess it was plastic dipped in the past. The rear wheel was definitely plastic dipped, but the rear wheel looked like total crap. So anyway, I pressure washed all the plastic dip as I could off of the wheel, and this is what I ended up with: a polished lip with a black insert. Hate it when people do that. So now I have an 8mm and I'm taking off the brake line off the fender. You don't have to do this if you're just removing the wheel. You can just leave your brake calipers hanging from the little clip that's on the fender. It'll be okay. Again, I loosened up the cinch bolts on the left hand side, and now I'm removing the 14mm on the caliper. And if you look at the fender up above, you can see where this caliper is mounted with a completely different screw. I always love it when people who work on a bike use 100 different size screws on the bike. That's what I found with the plastic anyway. There weren't two screws the same on the plastic anywhere on the bike. So if you're removing, if you're going to replace the plastic on a motorcycle, you do yourself a favor and go out to eBay and buy one of those screw kits. That way, when you put your bike back together, all your screws somewhat match up. They're not going to be OEM original, but at least the bike will look, decent from 10 feet away. So you can see the brake line is frayed, which is okay. Part of this rebuild, the bike is going to get Caliper braided brake lines. I found these blue ones online, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing a burgundy bike. It's going to look pretty good with some blue braided lines sticking out the front and rear. Nice. So what just fell out was the little piece that holds the front fender onto the fork. So whoever put this wheel on last time did not grease the axle. This is one of the reasons you always grease the axle. That axle's pretty dry. And just like any Honda, there's a hole in the axle where you can stick a shaft in there to pull it out. It's kind of a bonus feature that Honda does that other manufacturers don't. Slide the axle out. drop the wheel down, put your left spacer on the left side, your right spacer on the right side, and your wheel is out of the bike. So here you can see the plastic dip on the wheel. So what's going to happen to this wheel now is I'll put it on the tire machine and I'll remove that front tire, and then I'll pull the brake discs off, and I'll get as much of that plastic dip off the wheels, and then I'll media blast all that black off, and then I'm going to paint the wheels gray. Thanks for watching.